Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this PestExtra presentation. We have Davelbert talking to you about the latest in pest exclusion technology. We'll get started very shortly, but first I have a few housekeeping items for your information. CPD, it's all about the CPD. The PestExtra events team will be tracking each individual's engagement and activity across all areas. For example, presentations you attend, exhibitors you visit. Your total time across the whole event will be calculated as every 1 hour equals 1 CPD point. I hope that makes sense. We have a live Q&A session for you to ask questions to Dave. You'll see an option to click on the Q&A and submit your question. At the end of the presentation, I will read this out for Dave to answer live. You can be anonymous if you wish. All attendees can see the questions asked. And if it's a question that you like, why not give it a thumbs up? This way, I can see which question you're most interested in. We have a discussion forum as well. This is for general chat to all attendees and the BPCA moderator. If you have any technical problems, your sound, video, etc., then you need to hit the orange live support button at the top of your screen. In these live sessions, we cannot hear or see you. If you do want to have some live chats with the BPCA team or any of our exhibitors, then please go and visit them on the stands. So, without further ado, I'll hand you over to Dave. Take it away, Dave.
Good afternoon. My name is Dave Colbert, Vice President of Sales for Excluder Products, located in Chicago, Illinois. I'm very pleased to be speaking with you today regarding exclusion solutions for both commercial and residential structures, which we have to offer at Excluder. It's unfortunate that I can't be there in person, as we really look forward to attending the PestEx every other year. And with luck, let's hope in 2023 we'll be there standing in person. Places for exclusion and the common problem areas and how to address them. They are gaps, cracks, and holes, entry doors, garage and dock doors, as well as dock levelers. And these are both for commercial and residential locations. They're very common. So we invented Excluder fill fabric some 15, 16 years ago, and the benefits of Excluder fill fabric are that it won't rust because it's made of stainless and poly. It's a permanent solution. Once you put it in, it stays there forever. It has a springiness that locks it into holes and crevices. It's very economical and it's really easy to install. We have multiple product options. We have your basic single roll, which is a 10 centimeter by 3 meter roll. We also have the bulk roll case of the same size rolls, which has 5 rolls per case. We have our 25 millimeter by 1.2 meter strips, 36 rolls in a box. We also offer the starter kit with gloves and scissors included, as well as what we call Excluder wrap, which is an adhesive backed material, 51 millimeters by 3 meters, and there you get 2 rolls. So a lot of options, all for the purpose of filling holes, cracks, and crevices. Here are some typical applications that professionals use for around HVAC lines, around plumbing, both inside and outside of a structure, for weep holes, for brick and stone. And then, of course, we also have under siding, and here you have an example of a rodent climbing up, getting under the side of a house. Also, areas like roof lines, window lines, things like that, the material works very well. The installation for Excluder fill fabric is really quite simple. It takes seconds per hole. You cut a piece and you fill the hole. So here you can see we've got a person cutting it wearing his gloves and scissors, wrapping it around the outside of the pipe, and then pressing it in with a screwdriver. So really the only tools required are scissors and a screwdriver. And many pest management professionals use putty knives, scissors. They have many tools with which to do this. We also have additional excluder solutions, one of which is called the Excluder wrap, which is an adhesive-backed fill fabric. This is commonly used in areas such as electrical boxes, junction boxes, on top of PVC piping, and also electrical wires being harnessed and wrapped together where rodents tend to attack and gnaw on. So many people use this material in those applications. There's also a new use that's going on here in the States, and it's called joint sealing. So what it is a rodent proofing kit for concrete floor joints as well as wall joints. And so in many large retail stores, they're made of on concrete slabs. And as you can see over here, there's cracking and it's pulling apart through the building shifting. What we offer is, of course, our 25mm strips, and then a self-leveling sealant, which you should be able to get over in Europe as well. And here you can see a sealed gap. And what was happening was rodents and insects were coming up through that gap. If you just use the sealant alone, the rodent will chew through it, whereby if you put the excluder fill fabric in and then the sealant, it's a perfect bond, and it's a permanent bond because as the building shifts again, the self-leveling sealant holds in place. So these are just some new uses that you should consider. Then we move on to door sweeps. Door sweeps are a very integral and key part of exclusion. Many rodents enter under doors in many shapes and sizes. The benefits are that it's the only known door sweep to exclude rodents permanently, plus it's easy to install. It's available in a 1.2 meter length product, as well as can be cut to size for an exact fit. And that's the key to any exclusion work, is you have to be exact. You have to make sure that there's no openness on each end. So here we offer in Europe the commercial door sweep, the low profile door sweep, and the heavy duty door sweep. And these all have their purpose and benefits, which I will outline next. So options and your installation. The options are the commercial. The length is, of course, 1.2 meters. It's an aluminum retainer, and it covers or seals a gap up to 20 millimeters. Then we have the heavy duty. This is a much larger door sweep. It's still 1.2 meters long. The retainer is made of steel, and this seals gaps up to 50 millimeters, and very useful in very high pressure rodent areas, especially if dealing with rats. And then we have a low profile, the same length, 1.2 meters. These have aluminum retainers, and this seals gaps up to 13 millimeters. Mounting hardware is included with all these sweeps, which is the screws and the end clips. The end clips are critical because the rodents attack it from the end. The installation should take you about 10 minutes. And this is, of course, with a little experience, so there's a learning curve, but once you get it down, it's really only takes 10 minutes. The tools required are a screwdriver or a nut driver, tin snips, a hacksaw, and a pair of scissors. And these are all simple tools that you keep in the truck, and should be simple and straightforward. We also offer what we call astragal seals for vertical gaps between doors. This is a very common problem with many double doors that have that gap. So if you can understand, if you seal along the bottom horizontally, but you still leave a gap vertically, this needs to be sealed. So the astragal seals seal the gap between the double doors. We offer in Europe an adhesive mount product, and the length is 2.44 millimeters, but it ships as a 2 by 1.2 meter pieces. This way we keep the freight costs down, and it's easy to install. We also offer what we call the Excluder glass door seals. And here you can see down at the bottom of the door, there's a gap that's probably 30 meters or millimeters or larger, and rodents can get through there quite easily. So what we offer is an adhesive mount seal that's 15.2 centimeters in length, and it's really quite easy. It's adhesive back, so really you just measure and stick it on, adhere it on. And this is very commonly used in areas such as hotels, hospitals, anywhere where they have somewhat architectural appearances with these types of doors where glass has gaps and allows it in. This brings us to the automatic door bottom. The automatic door bottom is ideal for uneven surfaces. You've all had those situations where you have a door where the door swings out or swings in, the concrete or the floor is not level. And so any brush sweep, whether it's Excluder brush seal or a brush sweep itself, over time will wear. So the construction of this is an aluminum case surrounding a movable drop bar seal. And the drop bar seal is actuated by a plunger, which contacts the jamb as the door is closing. And this, of course, forces the drop bar seal down against the floor, creating a secure seal. So when the door is closed, the rodents can't get under. The rubber seal is filled with Excluder fill fabric, and this, of course, provides dependable protection against the rodents and the elements. The standard lengths are 91 centimeters and 1.2 meters. Custom lengths from 61 centimeters to 152 centimeters are available, 51 millimeter increments. And you can usually cut off on this end, not the end of the bar, about an inch in US terms. So this is a video showing the drop bar working. So we'll play it again. See the bar actuated, and as it closes, it goes down, this drops down. It's a really useful product, especially for all those doors that simply won't open up properly with a sloped floor. This now brings me to sealing garages and docks. In many factories, as well as homes, the biggest entry point for rodents is primarily docks and garages. There's many reasons for that. One of the primary reasons is there's many different openings involved. As well, most factories and warehouses, their trash is collected outside. You can see here, for example, there's the dumpster right there. And usually, as you know, where there's dumpsters, there's rodents. And so that draws the rodents in. And then, of course, they endeavor to get into the building. So what we offer in this area is a dock and garage door seal, a vertical door seal. We offer dock leveler seals. And then we have something which we call the pull chain plug seal. And I will show these all to you in a minute. So here we have the X2 door bottom seals, and this provides the ultimate pest protection for garages and dock doors. The kit includes an X2 retainer, which of course is this part right here, which has the T component where the rubber slides in. It has the Excluder door seal, which is this rubber part here. And there you can see the Excluder fill fabric is laminated onto the rubber, preventing the rodents from getting through. We have a brush seal, which is connected here. And then, of course, mounting hardware. And the length is 4.8 meters. And we have options for doors 38 millimeters to 51 millimeters thick. So the thickness of the door is important. We offer this brush seal not because it protects against rodents, but if a food inspector is looking from the inside out, for example, and they see light, this brush seal embeds into the diamond plate of the dock plate. And so it's been a very useful tool for many food-related businesses to keep the health inspector happy, as well as keeping rodents and pests out. Also works against bugs. So the use of this, of course, is for any commercial and residential garage or dock door. The installation should take about a half an hour to an hour, depending on your experience. The tools required are a drill, a screwdriver, a hacksaw, some liquid soap or silicone spray, because obviously you have to slide that rubber into the track, and that takes a bit of effort. So the key is to have the right lubricant with which to slide the rubber in. So we also offer what are called loading dock levelers or Excluder sealing dock levelers. And here you have a perfect example of a dock leveler with a brush sweep. And of course, you can see this gap here, which is easy entry point for any rodent. So gaps as large as 32 millimeters on each side provide an easy path for any rodent to enter the building. The Excluder dock leveler seals replace brush seals, and that they do not protect against rodents. We know that a rodent can chew through a brush seal quite quickly. So the key benefits, it keeps rodents from entering through the sides of the dock levelers. It's very tough and durable. And of course, it also keeps down on debris. And you can see here kind of the example of the debris that collects in those brush seals. So this is an area, a weak point for buildings where rodents can easily make their way in. And here we have a close-up of the product itself. This is the actual rubber insert that goes in. This is the retainer that mounts to the side of the dock. In some cases, there may be brush sweep seals there already with the retainer, but it's best to install it from the beginning. So it fits levelers up to 244 centimeters long. It seals gaps of 25 millimeter to 32 millimeter. And you have to make a note that if it's 22 millimeter clearance between the pit and the wall for the leveler is required for installation. So if it's tighter than 22 millimeters, then that could be a problem in terms of installation. We do have a low profile option available for smaller gaps, which then go to 17 to 25 millimeter. So the kits include 4 1.2 meter aluminum retainers and 4.9 Excluder slide and seal seals, and that's the rubber there. So all in all, if you install it properly on both sides, clearly the rodents cannot come up through the side. And here we have a real good example of a dock that we did at a food plant, which is the before, where you can see the gap and the debris, and then the after over there to the right, which of course has both our X2 garage door seal as well as our dock leveler seal. So you can see that's a tight seal that no rodent will breach. Also, many dock levelers have what you call a pull chain, and that's like a spring-loaded mechanism that brings the plate up or down when necessary. And there you can see in the picture the arrow pointing to what is the pull chain. This is often overlooked and left unprotected, and the opening for the pull chain on dock levers is an ideal entry point for mice and rats. We make this available in 3 sizes. It's made of cast aluminum. The plug is designed to sit completely below the surface of the dock plate, so hence it won't be run over by forklifts and such and handling equipment. It's very easy to install. It takes minutes. A hacksaw or bolt cutters to remove the old chain ring seal, and pliers to crimp on the new one. And here are the 3 sizes we offer. So if you are doing exclusion work with your client at a dock location or warehouse location, these are critical. And here's a good example of how it seeds in so it doesn't get damaged. Finally, as far as sealing up a dock and a door, we have the garage and dock door side and top seals. And these come in the form of kits. You can see a retainer that's at a 45-degree angle, same concept with the slide and seal, the rubber slides in with the fill fabric. And the kit includes a 1.2 meter aluminum retainer sections, 6 of them, 2 3.7 meter sections of the Excluder side and seal gaskets, 16 self-tapping mounting screws, and it seals both sides of the door up to 3.7 meters high. The top seal, of course, is also doubles as a single side replacement kit. So if one of the sides gets damaged over here, for example, we offer a single seal kit or a top seal. And it basically seals the top of one door up to 3.7 meters wide, or one side of a door up to 3.7 meters high. So here you can see along here, this is a perfect seal as well as the sides. And so no rodent can find their way in. One of the areas that is growing over here in North America that we have not introduced into Europe, and we are using this venue as a means to introduce the concept of Excluder Geo. Excluder Geo is a coarse stainless steel mat, if you will, of fibers that's bound to a porous geotextile form, and it forms an impenetrable barrier against rodents and pests. The material allows grass and small plants to grow through it, and Geo is currently protecting many public sites over here in the States, which includes tree pits, planters, sports fields, some historical sites, as well as theaters, parks, and general areas. So in this example here, you can see the rodent burrows in what is a tree pit outside of a major grocery store in the Chicago area. The rodents were eliminated, or as much as possible. Some of the soil over here to the right, you can see, was dug off. The material was laid down. There's edging that goes around that secures the material to the ground so the rodents don't pull it up. And then, of course, the soil was put back on, and so were the plants. These plants came back better. We recommend about 4 inches of soil, and you can grow grass and other small plants on top of it. So here we see an example, or what the product looks like. It's 1.8 meters wide and up to 30.5 meters long. So it's really like rolling out a piece of carpeting. You can cut it with shears to fit different shapes. It's the installations vary in the size of the area. We've done some that are very small in a tree pit and some that are quite large. The tools required are shears, gloves, a hammer, landscape edging and spikes, 25-centimeter nails. And here you see the edging, the spikes, and this here is what we call a tree collar, Excluder tree collar. So that fits around the trunk of a tree. We have different sizes of that. And that's what keeps the rodents from getting in under the roots of the tree and living there. So this is a growing area. It's primarily in many urban areas where there's large rat populations. They burrow on high-end properties in the tree pits. They get into the dumpster, get into the building, and also factories. So people are embracing this technology in terms of keeping rodents away from the building in the first place. And we work with our clients and customers on this. This isn't something we just ship and sell and hope for the best. We talk to them about the dimensions. We understand what they're trying to do. And we certainly would welcome this opportunity with our pest management professionals in Europe as well. Some of the other things that Excluder have to offer are demo and assessment tools. So you all are combating the fact that in many cases, especially with rodents, your clients don't necessarily understand how rodents are getting into the building, why they're getting into the building. And so if you are able to do a walk around with your client, be it either a residence and or a factory or a warehouse, you can go armed with what we call the sample ring, the Excluder sample ring. And as you can see, this has a number of products in it, which range from the X2 garage door seal, most of the door sweeps, a sample of fill fabric, the dock leveler seals, etc. And as you point out these gaps, you can use these as sort of a visual aid to show them how, in fact, you can seal up these gaps. And this is a very beneficial tool, which I know many of you already have, but we can only suggest that any of your technicians or salespeople should go armed with these if you embrace and perform exclusion services. We also have what we call the FIT, which is the Fry Inspection Tool. This was developed by Dr. Matt Fry from Cornell. He's an urban entomologist, Cornell University. And he did, based on research, he was able to conclude that this is the size of a hole that a mouse can get through, and this here is the size of a hole that a rat can get through. So many PMPs walk about with their clients with this little tool in their pocket, and they're able to show the client certain aspects as to why certain areas need to be have exclusion performed. So you can imagine you can show the hole and the diameter and what needs to be done. Also, there's tools on there. There's little markings to identify droppings, measure gaps, and of course probe openings. And so it's very popular here, and we look forward to trying to promote this and get more of these in the hands of pest management professionals in Europe. We also have the installation and product videos on YouTube, and it covers pretty much the whole range of products that I've just reviewed. And certainly whenever you're ready to install something, it's a very useful and practical tool to refresh yourself as you go, to make sure you're doing it right. Because obviously you can see just with the size of the hole and the small hole, you've got to make sure that every hole, every opening is sealed properly, as rodents will find their way back in. So Mr. Ralph Angler is our European contact. You can always reach him should you have any questions. Of course, we have many fine distributors in Europe that we work with. So we recommend that you contact your local distributor first. If they're unable to accommodate some of the things that we've presented today, please by all means get in touch with Mr. Ralph Angler, and he certainly will be more than happy to help assist in getting information to you. And finally, I have one last thing that I'd like to just show for a moment, which is basically the item numbers that we offer in Europe today. And this presentation, of course, will be available. So if you were trying to figure out what product you were interested in, this is a reference by which you can use. So I would like to thank the organizers of PestEx for allowing us this opportunity to present. I'm looking forward to answering any questions that you may have, and we are hopeful that you will continue to use Excluder in your exclusion practices. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dave. That was an excellent presentation. We have about 8 questions that have come through, so I'm going to read those out for you, and then much appreciate your answer. So, the top question we have at the moment is, would you consider producing the excluder in an alternative colour to greater blending with its intended location?
That's an interesting question. We've never had that request. I guess the first question would be, what color would you require? We could probably alter the color of the poly. Stainless steel remains the same, Sarah, but we'd certainly be interested in learning more in terms of what color material they'd be looking. But generally, we've done well with the basic black and silver, so to speak, of silver and poly.
Yeah, if it works, don't break it.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got another question from Andre Hunt. Is the excluder robust enough for food processing factories, like high traffic areas?
Hey, I'm sorry, the first part of the question, is there excluder?
Is the excluder robust enough for food processing factories?
Is it robust enough? Well, absolutely. You know, much depends, of course, on how tightly you pack it, and you know what the size. If you have large gaps or holes, then we suggest you use basic construction materials. If the hole is smaller in diameter around pipes and fittings and such, absolutely. But we sell in many food production facilities as well as food storage areas which have high pressure. Definitely have had great successes with both the fill fabric and all of our door and sweep products.
Excellent. Okay, so we've got another question. Where in the UK can the excluder sample ring tool be purchased?
So we have 3 or 4 different distributors in the UK that all have that available on in their offering. We have an item number for it, which I think we may have on the last page there. So we definitely sell it. It's not expensive. It's a relatively inexpensive tool. And contact your distributor. And there's 3 or 4 of them. So, you know, we supply through everyone. I don't want to say contact one and not the other. There's a number of them. So
Sure.
it is available though.
Okay, we've got another question. Would it also prevent foxes from burrowing?
Well, then you're talking the Geo textile that we talked about at the end, and it's quite interesting. All of our work has been done with rats, Norway rats. We've also had what they call ground squirrels here in the United States. I'm not quite sure what that would be called over in the UK and Europe. So I have no data that says it could be used against a fox. So I would be hesitant to answer that in an affirmative way. So probably not. We know that people have done things with what are called pocket gophers, which are smaller than a fox but big enough, and they were able to make their way through it. I don't think they were happy once they did it, but because it is a very serious product in terms of abrasiveness and things. But I can't recommend it for foxes in a clear conscience.
Yeah. Okay. Another question. How long does it last externally?
So it's a stainless steel, so it should last forever. Meaning as long as it's, I mean, the only exceptions to the rule is if it's in like some sort of a corrosive chemical plant area or something. But in general, once it's a stainless steel, so it won't rust. It will last forever. And as long as the building's not shifting, pipes moving, things like that, where material's being loosened or something, once you do it once, you really shouldn't have to go back and install it.
Excellent. We've got another comment and a question actually from John O'Brien. It sounds like a great product. Can it be painted over? Because some customers will ask this question.
Well, what most people do in terms of that, I'm unaware of anyone painting over it. I'm sure it would probably hold some sort of a latex paint. Usually we recommend some sort of, if you must seal it, if you want to seal it, which there's areas that do need sealing, where in schools, for example, little children, you don't want them getting their fingers on it. So what they do is they put the material in, and then they put a bead of caulk of some sort that protects it and seals it up. So we recommend a caulk first if you must seal it. A paint, I have no experience where anybody's ever painted it. It's another interesting question.
Okay. So we've got a comment here from Wayne, but it's not a question, but he just wanted to say an excellent product that has been successfully used many times. Thank you for a great product.
Well, thank you very much. We've really greatly appreciated the exclusion efforts of the PMPs in all of Europe. Quite honestly, this is our 3rd PestEx, I believe, and I'm always impressed with the capabilities for exclusion that we see pest management professionals do in Europe compared to here in the States. Here in the States, we're learning, but the Europeans are certainly a bit ahead of us. So it's always a pleasure to hear that type of feedback. Thank you very much.
Good to hear. We've got another question for you, Dave. What is the lifespan, i.e. number of sweeps, compared to brush seals?
So that's we haven't really done a longitudinal study, and it's a function of how the door opens. If the door opens, if you remember, we showed what was the auto door bottom, but if the door opens and it's not abrading against the ground, it should last as long as the door. meaning you don't have to change it. A brush sweep over time can get damaged where if someone sticks a brick out there to keep the door open, you can disturb the fibers. Ours is very robust. So we maintain that it lasts the lifetime of the door as long as it's opening out or in, it's not constantly abrading against the surface. And we know certain cases that's the problem. That's why we came up with what we call the auto door bottom, because that compensates for uneven floors and entryways. So otherwise, it should last as long as the door, so to speak.
Yeah. And we've got another question asking: is it good externally?
I'm sorry. Is it good?
Is it good externally?
Meaning on the outside of a building? Absolutely. That's why we make it made of stainless, so that it can adhere or deal with any sort of moisture and humidity, which of course we all have all over the world. So absolutely. And if you're, like I said, if you're in a real toxic area, so to speak, then you can always put some caulk or sealant on the outside of it just to keep that out. But most of the time it's really not necessary. As long as you pack it in tightly, it won't rust and it'll stay the same appearance forevermore.
Brilliant. We've got another question. Could it be used on the bottom of roller shutters?
So it's always fascinating, the definition of roller shutters. We call them roll-up doors here, I believe. Parts of India, for example, consider a roll-up shutter. It's kind of an open grid kind of a door. As long as the door is a solid structure, it should be. We know that there's a multitude of different types of configurations. So you would probably need to get some sort of a drawing or an understanding as to what kind of retainer would go on the bottom. In what we call a roll-up door, the retainer is a T-shaped retainer versus what you would call a garage door, which is a L-shaped retainer, which screws onto the bottom of the door. It's a flat surface. So you can always, whoever asked the question, and thank you, we can always contact Ralph Engler with, let's call it a photo or a dimension or something of the door, and we can take a look at it.
Excellent. Got another really good question. Any likelihood of expanding into insect exclusion products in the future?
That's a tricky one because there's so many different types of insects. So to be honest, many PMPs over here in the States do use it to combat insects, not necessarily, so particularly things like bees and carpenter bees, things like that, where they bore into wood up in the structures of a home, as an example. So for that type of thing, yes, it's great. Things like little mini ants and things, we can't really make a promise that they can't get under it. So there's so many, millions of types of insects. You have to kind of use your judgment as to the size. As long as the size of the insect or the gap left underneath it or in it, they can't get through it. But we don't make a lot of claims for insects because there are so many different types.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got another couple of questions. Where can we get samples of the Excluder fry measure tool in the UK?
So we actually sell those, and the reason we do is we donate the proceeds from that to the National Pest Foundation in North America for research. We do have some there. We can contact Mr. Engler, and I think even through the distributor, but contact Mr. Engler first. And I believe we can organize to send some samples. They're not expensive. It's not like we're in it to make money. When Dr. Fry invented this, he wasn't in this to make money. He was in it for the purpose of science. And so we donate the proceeds in his name for research against for pest management professionals. So
yeah, okay. We've got another question here for you. Is there a kit for concertina doors with nose cones, etc.?
for what type of doors?
Nose cones, concertina doors.
I may have a translation problem. I'm not really sure. What is a concertina door? Is it a rolling door or
No, so it's concertinas. That's what concertina does. I don't know what it would be called in the States.
So,
maybe you can take that question and get it translated and get it correctly.
yeah, I think the best. So we do. We've developed something here in the States that we're just launching, which I haven't taken to Europe yet because I don't even. Our doors alone are complex. Getting an understanding of European doors is going to be a double challenge. But for automatic sliding doors in big retail stores here, they have these doors that just open. You know, it's a two configured door. It's electric, and every time you walk up to it, they open up. And at the bottom of that are openings all over the place, and it's for grocery stores and pet stores and things like that. So we figured out a way to seal those. So the short answer is, if you could send us some photos of what we're talking about, then we can at least answer if something we have a concept for or not.
Okay, actually, that concertina doors are retractable doors that fold diagonally.
Fold diagonally, yeah. So okay, yeah. No, we do not have an answer for that because it's like I think it's like an accordion kind of a thing, if I'm understanding. And so we actually looked at in Grand Central Terminal in New York. They had all their kiosks were behind these doors, and they'd open and close these doors. And the problem was we're never able to develop something that would make sense with the construction of that door. So sorry, I wish we could, but
no worries. We've got another question. Distribute in Africa.
We have a distributor in South Africa, and I apologize. It just went right out of my head. I'm embarrassed. Oh, I apologize. We do have a distributor in South Africa. If whomever asked the question, they could reach out to me or Ralph Engler. I'm at davec@gmt-inc.com. davec@gmt-inc.com. And I'll give you the name. I apologize. I have 50 names in my head right now, and I don't want to blurt out the wrong one. So
that's okay, Dave. We can help out as well. Anybody at BPCA can get the details forwarded to you.
I believe on our website we do have a list of all our international distributors. I think I cited towards the tail end there. It's the buyexcluder.com distributors section, and then I believe that's listed. And I hope my friends in South Africa aren't listening, because I can picture my colleague as clear as I'm standing here, and I can't think of the name of it right now. I'm having a senior moment. So
that's okay. I know how you feel. So we've got another question. What's next for Excluder?
Well, as I indicated, we're doing a lot more on these automatic sliding doors. We're also looking at different ways of improving our door sweeps that make them far easier to install. And our hopes is that we will have some new and interesting designs coming here in the very near future, as we've been working on that, and they would apply where they would be far easier to install, and hence time saver, and time is money, and that would be the goal, is to save money and being competitive to what we offer today. So
excellent.
That's in the works as well.
Thank you, Dave. Well, we seem to have run out of time, so I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank you very much, and all the attendees, for the questions. Really great questions. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of the day and enjoy the rest of PestExtra and visit the exhibitor stands. And thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Dave.
We greatly appreciate the business. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good day.